All right, let me get Coach. We'll get going. All right, we got Coach. Trey, you want to get us going?
Yeah, Coach. I was curious how everything's gone in the 8-week cycle with Ben Souders and kind of the focus that you guys have had.
Or at the very end of that, I think you're asking about the off season with Ben.
Mhm.
He's brought a lot of enthusiasm along with his assistants, a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. It's been hard now. I mean, we've got to get better, obviously every year, but we needed this spring, this winter conditioning. It's been tough. The kids have worked extremely hard. Ben and his group are so positive, energetic, along with the other new guys I've hired, Trey, and I think it's went real well. We've had a few injuries, um, but nothing too severe. But they've worked extremely hard.
Wondering if you could tell me anything about Jaheim Singletary.
Well, I can now because he's signed his SEC agreement with us. He was here on his OV this Sunday, Monday, and left this morning, and we were very fortunate that he. You'll have to talk to him, Trey, but I can talk about him since he signed his SEC agreement with us. We're excited about him. I mean, big time player out of Georgia.
Tom?
Hey, Sam, last we talked to you on Travis Williams, you were just like, he's going to be aggressive. But I wonder, like, between then and now, you have any further ideas or stuff you can share in terms of what you think he'll bring defensively, maybe the schematic that's different?
I think the biggest thing, we're going to have four bigs on the field, on the D line. I think that's the biggest thing that I wanted. Sometimes we weren't able to do that because just of personnel, but I think we're set up better for that now. Right now, he has installed through our walks, field and boundary blitzes, things of that nature. We haven't got too extreme, but we are running multiple fronts and things of that nature with movement, and I think what he does will fit our personnel very, 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 very well.
Okay, and this is kind of a long question, but it has to do with personnel. I think you've got 22 new guys on the roster for the spring, in addition to walk-ons and stuff. But just all the changes have taken place since you've become a head coach, and I'm wondering, managing that, how's it gone? And then you had one of the higher numbers of players enter the portal. So is there anything you can put your finger on in your exit interviews or what have you that has led to the roster transition you guys have undergone?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I think some guys come in and they see that they're not going to be able to play. Maybe they have been over recruited or have gotten a spot to where they don't want to wait 2 or 3 years to get on the field, or they don't want to compete for 2 or 3 years to get on the field. And those are guys you understand a little bit more, and then the other ones are guys that. For whatever reason, whether it be NIL, playing time, then they just, or somebody, poaches them from your roster. Those are a different story. I mean, so I can't tell you, Tom, that there aren't some guys that go in the portal where you're, okay, I understand it. And then there's some that don't. And you can't be both ways. You have to be happy for the young man that made the decision. I think, to be honest with you, I think it's pretty well known. I thought we needed a change, and strength wise, I thought we needed to do some different things, and that's not negative against anybody at all. It's just, sometimes change is good. And I think these new coaches, what we learned from it, I guess, in the bottom line is we needed to communicate with our kids more often. We need to see them in settings other than just football, which we've done, and try to foster a relationship with these guys more than just on the field. I think we'll have guys enter the portal, and other teams will as through the years. Certainly hope that it's not as many. As of right now, we still have 8 scholarships left. And you talked about the 22 and 8, which equals 30, because we have 8 that's not here, and then had 9 scholarships set. So we could, if we were able to sign 8 more, we'd have 39 changes, along with 5 or 6 coaches. And that's a lot of change, but they do give you time. And the way the rules are now, you can certainly get out with the kids and see your coaches coaching them in these walks and things of that nature that we're doing. So I think we'll be fine. As you well know, we had a fall season with first-time head coach and no practice too. So I think we'll be fine. I'm really excited of where we are right now as far as relationship building with our kids.
Okay, and then the new coaches, this big year for you, I guess, in the trajectory of the program. How do you think the new assistant coaches have fit in with what your ideals are?
They're very, very, very loyal, hard workers, great recruiters. And basically, once we make a decision in there, that's exactly what, to the T, exactly what we're going to do. And that's been on both sides of the ball with all of our new coaches, and including our strength coach. So, I feel like at this point, and I don't see it going any other direction, I feel like we've really hit a home run with our hires.
Otis.
Yeah, Sam, you mentioned the injuries a while ago. I'm not going to ask you to list everybody that's hurt, but is there some players that won't be able to participate this spring?
Yeah,
Completely.
and to be perfectly honest with you guys, I'd like to. I love the question. I'd like to stay specifically about specific injuries. You guys will see them out there, but yes, there'll be some guys that miss part of spring. There'll be some that will miss all of spring, and you'll see them out there when you get to practice. But some of them, the medicine treatments and things have come a long way. We've had some cartilage injuries that are repairable, and back in the old days, they were trims, and repairable will take you 5-6 months to get back fully healthy. And so there's been some injuries like that. We'll have a few class schedule problems depending on certain days, because our class schedules are set up for Tuesday, Thursday for practice. And, early, as you all know, we're going to practice on a Friday, and we may have a few guys come in late and things of that nature, but not a high amount of injuries from the offseason, but we've had a few.
Rocket Sanders and Tykees Crawford specifically left the game in the first quarter, I believe, the Liberty Bowl. I know Tykees left during the first series on the field goal. What's their status, Coach?
They'll both be able to go, and they're healthy. And man, both of them have had a really good offseason. I think our whole team has. And you guys usually ask me about some specifics or who stood out, and Jaden Wilson has been unbelievable out there. But Rocket, to answer your question, Rocket and Tykees have done really well.
Tykees going to be a guard or a tackle, Coach? That's my last question.
I think that's the beauty of spring, is to really try to find out where your 5 pieces, if assuming he's going to start for us and things of that nature, where they go. And then obviously if he was a 6th or 7th man, Could he play two? Is he a sixth, seventh on the right? That's an exciting thing about spring is trying to figure out with injuries, or who's your top five and where should they play? And if you had an injury, who would be your next guy or two in there and where would they play? It's really exciting. But I think, to be honest with you, I think we still have to find out where he would do it. We got Braun came in, Kudas, some of the Harris, Chambly, those guys. We've really got to figure out what our best five is and what positions they need to play. But he would have a chance to play both of them, Otis.
Thank you.
Got it.
Yeah, Coach Torian Carter tweeted last week that he's been cleared. How was his recovery, and maybe what are you expecting from him the next several weeks? Like, is he going to be a guy that kind of eases into it, or is he full go?
I think we've been told to watch him. Watch if there's any swelling on his knees and things of that on his knee and things of that nature. But to be perfectly honest with you, he got cleared. We'll be smart with him in those things. But I thought at the end of last spring, I thought he was as good a defensive interior lineman as we had. And really, it's almost like getting him out of the portal, because he didn't play last year. Day didn't, and he's back. Dominique Johnson will be back, by the fall. But Torian's very, very strong, worked extremely hard and got cleared, and we expect him to have a really good spring. We will watch him to the fact we might limit him a little bit in reps early. We'll have to wait and see.
And then with your tight ends, kind of what's your impression of that group right now, and what do you want to see from them, I guess, in the next few weeks?
Well, I think Bax has stepped up. Bax is moving better. Tyrus Washington has really had a good obviously working his tail off, working extremely hard. The two Has brothers, and I know Dylan's not a tight end, but Luke are two of the hardest working kids you'll ever see. As a matter of fact, I called her mama last night to tell them that, because they are hard working, no nonsense kids. So I think Luke will help us. You asked specifically about tight end. I think Dylan will too, but you asked about tight ends, and that would be probably those five guys right now. Obviously, waiting on Shamar Easter to get here in late May, early June.
Tom.
Oh, hey, yeah. So this is the routine question about who looked good in the winter conditioning. You mentioned Jaden Wilson, and there's got to be a bunch of other guys that you like.
Well, there really is. And so, if you look at the tight end position, and they're all Tyrus. I talked about Tyrus and Bax and Luke. I tell you, that group, we're going to play more of them. So we need more of them. And Shamar's going to have to come in here ready to go. On the O-line, you have your vets, and then Kudas it looks really good. I mean, he's gotten big, strong, can move. Amarian and Chambly both have looked really good, and our transfer Braun has looked good, and along with the older guys. And then quarterback, they've all done really a good job. Obviously, KJ will stick out there a little bit. And then Criswell can run. He's got an arm, but he can run, and I'm excited about that. Running back wise, they've all three played. They all three are doing exceptional. Now at the wideout position, that's a little bit different story there. And obviously, we haven't been throwing and catching and all that kind of stuff. But if you look at Jaden Wilson, would be Bryce Stevens, those guys, the guys Baque, Sategna, the guys that you think would be there, they are. And then I think we hit the jackpot with the three transfers we got. Not again, they haven't caught balls, but I'm talking about work ethic and ability with Teslaw and Broden and Armstrong. I think all three of them are going to help us, And then on defense, the old Landon Jackson's really looked good. He would be the first one that Nico's getting bigger, looking good. And then at linebacker, Greer's come in looking good. Paul Crook. I love the freshman group, those young guys, with Spence and Oh, I'm missing Dean. Dean's really looked good too. In the secondary, I think the young kids, Braxton and Metcalf and R.J. Johnson, those three guys, I think, are hits. Dallas Young is doing a good job as well. But Jalen Lewis is a guy that shows out in drills, and just a lot of guys. I said too many as it is, but I think I'll tell you this: they're buying into what we're selling, and they're straining and doing a really good job. I love the 12 freshmen that we have on campus from this class. They're never in trouble. They work hard. They're good citizens, good students. And I think that class, as long as we can keep them together, it's going to be a really special class for us.
Yeah, speaking of jackpots, which you mentioned a minute ago, Quincy McAdoo, I think, might have been one of the bigger jackpots that you hit just with his emergence. Is spring a good time to say, hey, we're going to give you a small package on offense, or what's the ruling there?
Exactly what we talked to him about. I think we've had extensive conversations about him on offense, him on defense. With the emergence of the new staff, I think he's more comfortable staying where he was. I think there might have been a point where he might want to move to offense, but he's going to stay on defense because I think he feels like he can help the team, help himself more over there. We have talked to him about a third down package, and I've talked to our staff about that. There's two things there. One, he has to do it. It's going to be extra work on him, which he's willing to do that. And the other thing is he has to be one of our top three receivers or top four to get on the field. And as long as that happens, then certainly we are going to look at it because I told him we would.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then finally, you mentioned, I think a minute ago on tight ends, you said we're going to need more. So does that mean, like, what tweaks have you seen for what Dan's going to implement, like where tight ends be a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, we can be in 12, we can be in 13, things that we never even dreamt about over the last 3 years. So the tight end recruiting, which we feel like we've done a really good job this year, and the two that we've signed. But is there a place for a portal guy? Possibly. I don't know. I really like who's in there. But at the same time, I think we've got to make sure that by when the portal opens back up that we're ready to go with. Luke would be the guy that is the question mark because, we know what Tyrus is going to be able to do and what Back's going to be able to do. And if we feel like we've got enough tight ends to function, then we would stay out of the portal. If not, just numbers alone, we would go in and try to see if we can find somebody.
Right.
Hey, Coach, with KJ having been in a system for the last 3 years, a certain offensive system, do you guys just like start over from scratch in terms of everything, terminology and playbook and all that stuff? Or is there like a marriage of the old and the new, or how does that work?
As you well know, Trey, I've had so many jobs. And so the terminology of calls, of line calls and things of that nature, the ones that the kids make, those would be not a whole lot of change there. The terminology of the play calls and the things of that nature, a lot of change. Dan, that was one of the things Dan asked me